Hey guys, today's video is going to be all about how a couple I know really well saved about $15,000 to $20,000 based on the national average of labor for ICF by doing it themselves. With interest rates going up and inflation out of control, there's never been a better time to put a little sweat equity into your project to kind of stay ahead of all the crazy financial crises that are upon us. And they were building it's like a shop house for an in-laws quarters. Their families are getting older, and her mom and dad are moving to the area, and they've got enough land, and they built this really cool shop house out of ICF, and they did all the work themselves to get the block and everything set and ready. And just based on the size and average square foot labor, they've saved every bit of 15 to 20 grand, not counting the footings that they already saved labor on. And it just really accentuates what we're trying to do, whether it be the pools and the pool kits that we sell, so you guys can save half the cost of a pool by building it yourself, or we've the other day we had a guy send us. He called me because of our pool stuff, but he was doing an entire house, light deck, walls. 15,000 square foot house, massive thing. Just on the ICF block at our normal price, we were $13,000 less than the same product in his market, and that was shipped to him. $13,000 less at his job site. I'm gonna have a video in a couple of weeks. I'll tell you when it's not a good time to build. A few months back, when I could see lumber, crashing on the horizon, I said, don't build for a while. Lumber's coming down. It's not the time. I think that a great time to build is right around the corner. And I'll get into why I'm not nearly as afraid of interest rates being a little high as I am afraid of very high material costs. Like last summer was just a terrible time to build in my mind, because you cannot do anything about those material costs, but interest rates are temporary. But I will break that all down in a longer form in a couple weeks. But that's why we do all the training that we do. Like I said, you can go to icfguru.com, check out all of our upcoming trainings, our pool kits. But also, if you guys have a house coming up, send those plans the same way as you would request a pool quote, because we're saving people a lot of money on ICF all over the country, even for house build kits. Whether you're building it yourself or you've got labor lined up, we can probably save you money on the block and every other part of the supply chain. We're really making it an efficient process, make it easier to get into your hands for a price that's steady. Because it's gonna be years and years and years before the training we do closes the skill gap. And that's why labor is so high sometimes in your market. Maybe there's one or two guys that do it, then you do it and save tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna take you to John's build, and you guys can check out just how great of a job he did. Okay guys, I came out to one of my buddy's jobs today. You guys know John from a lot of my other videos. He is, in my opinion, the best pump operator in the country, but he does not stack, block, and pour and do ICF work by any means. So they are DIYers, and him and his wife are building a shop. I think her parents are moving in.
Yes.
And onto their land. So they're building this really cool kind of shop house for them. They're doing it all ICF, and they have done, I would venture to say, everything but the flat work yourselves.
Yes, we contracted out the flat work.
Cool. So I really want to ask you.
Yes.
First impression of ICF, because you're not around it every day like John.
No, I'm not. And I love it. It's super easy to do. And the concept of it, he's explained it to me plenty of times. Like, I've heard a million stories about ICF. And it's awesome. I love it. It's super cool.
So from a DIY perspective, it's lightweight.
Yeah,
it's pretty
totally easy to handle.
I've seen you doing more than him today, so I assume it better.
I've done.
She
pretty
goes faster
much.
than I can do all the cuts. She
Yeah.
can put it faster than I can get my cut joints in.
Right, and you're a nurse daily, and
Yeah.
is this easier than a nursing gig?
Well, yeah. You don't have to think about it. You just put it together. It's pretty.
Wait, are you saying ICF guys are dumb?
No,
okay,
not at all.
Okay, I'm just checking. Okay.
I can stack blocks. It's like Legos.
It's like Legos, absolutely.
He does all the cuts and the more
sure, and the layout makes sense, but it does take a little more. And John, we'll do a little walkthrough here in a second, but you're using the Fox Blocks vertical bracing system, like a plumb wall bracing.
Yes.
As you get those from Roast. And those are really nice for a situation like this. As you guys see, he's got a 10-foot wall straight up. they're quicker than the Zonson Zuckles. I love Zonson Zuckles, the flexibility of them, but these are quick, got just rock solid scaffolding. Even people who aren't comfortable on scaffolds are good with it.
That was my main concern. I've walked many boards on some questionable scaffolding with wall guys.
What are you saying, John?
Some other contractors.
Okay,
some
not
other
me, right?
contractors.
Okay.
You know, some other
teeter-totters.
Yes,
teeter-totters.
yes.
Yeah, I've
It'll
been
make me
there.
nervous. So I wanted something sturdy. We are going on a solid surface, so we didn't need the diversity of like the Zonson Zuckles.
Right, you're on a level playing
field. We're on a level
field.
playing field where we're going to run boards from wall to wall and actually anchor to the boards instead of my concrete, so we don't mess up with the finish. So we'll have that stability, and they are easy. The walk boards, we'll use the walk boards as our top planks, top boards for the wall, so to put a barrier between the concrete and our trusses. So
absolutely, this is gonna be a gravy pour. You guys are gonna do great. I'm gonna come back out on pour day to shoot, but I'm gonna take a second here and do a little walkthrough with John, show kind of some of the cool stuff they're doing. I want to show you guys a specific buck system that's different than the one you see me using all the time. Okay, guys, so couple things that John's doing that I think is pretty unique. That for one, this whole video is about promoting just how DIY-able this system is. Obviously, you know, we make a living doing the work, but you know, John needs to get it done quick. We're all busy, and he does have, you know, enough knowledge and ability that he's not the normal DIYer, but he is green when it comes to stacking blocks and actually putting the rebar where it goes. And he's got access to a few of us that can give him some pointers, but we also don't have time to be out here helping him. I came out here on Saturday to shoot this. But John, real quick, let's talk. He did hydronic heating. He did this all by himself before the guys poured the slab. I'll show you a picture of what it looked like when he got it all roughed in. But you've got just a hydronic system with, looks like 4 zones?
4 zones.
4
yes.
zones. What's the red and white, red and blue?
Hot water, cold water.
Hot water, cold water.
We're going to run across.
Oh, you ran it under grade?
Yes, it's all under foam. It's in the gravel, and then there's 2 inches of foam on top of it. And then our wire mats, we had 8x16 wire mats that we zoned out, gridded out, which helped us wire tie, or we used our tie gun.
Yep.
It's nice having people
Twin
in the
tire.
industry here.
Twin tire. That's worth the best $2,300 we've ever spent.
it cut my time in a quarter of what I thought we were going to be here. So we were able to grid out everything. So we have a zone for the bedroom, a zone for the bathroom and kitchen, a zone for the living quarters, and for the garage. So.
And you got your gas and a conduit for.
I've got a gas going to the stove.
Okay.
Across the house. It just made sense to bring our utilities in from this side.
And then take it underground.
Yeah. So we'll put a closet over here around washer dryer. So our water coming in, gas coming in, our gas going across, and then there's a conduit for the gas to come in from the tank. And then we're going to have the washing machine right there as well. So just keep all the utilities in the garage.
Perfect idea.
Keep it simple in the house.
Absolutely. Let's go look at this buck. I want to show you guys one thing. You guys see in most of my videos, I'm using the Fox bucks, which are, you know, the white, all styrofoam, all polystyrene form. And it has actually got a web that runs all the way through it, so you hang your windows by just screwing into it. I like it because it is a 100% thermal break. That's why I use them. However, a lot of contractors will do a 2x12 or do some other thing that I think is a little janky because they're stiffer, easier to put the windows in, but they're not a thermal break. So this is a Gorilla buck. It's about the same price as the Fox buck, and if you feel more comfortable with it, it's more rigid, right? I mean,
it's very
He's
rigid.
seen enough pours go sketchy with the Fox bucks or the styrofoam bucks. We know how to brace them, but if you don't get it right, they can be tricky. This is very rigid. It's 1.5 inches of plywood, but the thermal break is only 3/4 inch. If you come around here, Liz, you can see the keyway, the styrofoam keyway that actually gets it attached to the concrete really well. That's embedded through the first piece of plywood. You can see it up here. So you only end up with a 3/4 inch thermal bridge. Also, they include these little guys where you take a skill saw, you sink the blade into the side, and you hammer it into here, and that gives you like really positive connection into the concrete. You know, the concrete fills in these holes and everything. You couldn't get it out if you wanted to. So I really think these are cool. I don't get to show them off because I don't use them a lot. I'm dubious. I'm tempted to use them in Angel Fire because I got so many breaks, but I'm also 10,000 feet above sea level, so the thermal break means something to me up there. Here, I mean, these are super solid. Way better than a 2x12, way better than Advantech because they're actually engineered for this, you know, opening. But anyway, so I'm going to be back in a couple days when John's all done, if he gets with it this weekend.
Yes, we
got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work.
And I'll be here for the pour, and then we'll bring it all to you guys so you can get to see just what DIY, how easy it is. So just a couple weekends and you got a building.
Yeah. We set the first 2 course of block we had the footing poured, we had the gravel grate in, and then we put a whaler board around the footing, and then we set our blocks up against that. Her and I had the first 2 courses of block done in about 4 hours, leaving our bucks in for our garage door and our 1 walk door and our closet door. So we had that done in 4 hours, clipped, everything rebarred, and then we did. Took us another half a day to do all the plumbing, get it in, get our foam down, get our grids down. So, I mean, actually setting the blocks took us 4 hours for 2 courses. So, and then we've worked about an hour after work, about 4 nights. So about another 4 or 5 hours, that's getting set up, tearing down in the dark.
Carrying all the braces.
Yes,
yeah,
so,
I mean, that's...
So it's, the braces went up in about 30 minutes on one side. I've got the other side still to do. So everything's gone pretty quick for a few hours in the evening, and then we've been at it since about 7:30 this morning. So.
Yep, this is straightforward. You don't have a lot of butt joints. You think you got one over there is all?
I've got one there and on one this side. This is pretty tight. So
yeah. So
I just decided to work from the corners.
Right.
To the center.
And so, I mean, that's so he's got a little bit of stuff. He doesn't have a lot of ins and outs that you might have on some of your custom houses, but he's still got a little bit. Yeah, kept it simple. Absolutely. Are you nervous?
No.
No. Good.
No, not at all.
John's
He's
got
nervous.
it. Yeah, John's nervous.
I'm not nervous.
What's the pucker factor on your own pour, John?
Yeah, that's the thing. I do these things for guys all the time, and I'm there for them. Have no problem whatsoever. I know what can go wrong. It's my own. Pretty puckered. Not sleeping.
That is the one thing with DIY, man. You got one or 2 sleepless nights beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can see we did good. He was pouring from over here. We just kind of tapped on the buck and got it shooting out over here. So normally we would have some hole saws, like 6-inch holes right there to make sure. But he has no big openings. I think it's a pretty safe bet what he's doing, and saves a little bit of time. He doesn't have a lot of people here that would know what to do to cap it and whatnot. So doing good. So these turnbuckles make it real easy to get that wall nice and straight right when the pour is done. I like, of course, you see me using the Zonson stuff a lot more because you're actually pushing on a horizontal whaler. So, because if there's a little bow in any one of these, you really can't do much about it, but it's a pretty nifty system otherwise. Okay guys, we just got done with the pour. John got his truck washed out and everything went swimmingly well.
Yes, extremely well, extremely well.
It's kind of a funny thing. John, like I said, he's not done a lot of his own ICF, but he's poured a ton for me and other guys that do a lot of ICF, so he's seen a bunch. But he was puckered a lot more than she was. She had faith in the hubby and her own work because but what did you think? Because you haven't really seen this process like we have. I mean,
No, it went. I figured it would go this smoothly. It did not go bad. It went very smoothly.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, what,
The
30,
only
32
hiccup
yards?
was the
32 yards.
32 yards,
Yeah.
and then we had to wait for that last truck.
Yeah, we had to wait a little bit on the last truck.
I think honestly, every time I talked to him on the phone, he was waiting on concrete. So actually, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, that is sort of one of the things that happens.
Yes.
Which gave us time to get some anchor bolts in, get 2 walls lined.
Yeah, we straight line 2 walls while we're waiting.
Yeah, so we were able to play catch up and get some stuff done. So it did help. It was kind of beneficial to us. So.
Yeah, well, you guys did great. It's going to be an awesome place for your mom and dad.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
So like I said, this video is all about showing how a couple of people can do this themselves. at the beginning of this video, I'm going to talk about just how much money they saved by not. You already saw that, but it's not inconsequential if you want to do a little sweat equity, and it's generally pretty possible depending on where you live, and you know, it's a good way to go.
Yeah.
She stacked. I'd say she probably stacked 80 to 90%.
Well,
of
the day I
blocks
was there,
while
I
in
never
my
saw
kids.
you put one up. So.
She did. Now she didn't like the walk boards. She called them crawl boards until she got up there. But we were doing
Well,
good. So.
and for you busting my chops about them, I saw a couple that I wouldn't have done. But,
I had some questionable, you
Yeah,
know, it was
it's-
last minute stuff. Make sure, you know.
Absolutely.
But it went good. You
Yeah.
know, my hostman was a little scared, but
Yeah,
good thing he's a friend.
John's the pump operator. He brought in one of the competitors because they're buddies, and he actually ran the hose. So, and he had never actually poured on an ICF pour either, even though he pumps them every day. It was kind of neat seeing guys in the industry actually get a little bit of a different angle on it. So.
And two operators working together. There's not a lick of concrete on my slide.
Yeah, I am pretty amazed at the fact that there's no splash out at all. You about got away from me when you got into that tree limb.
I did. I had one branch there.
Yeah, he got caught on a tree limb, about took me off, but otherwise it went really good. But anyway, guys, you did great, and like I said, we might come out and do a progress vid after you get the trusses up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.